Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading a multi-character listener by me. So let's get into it. Scaramouche. He doesn't feel comfortable with someone often, so the fact that he feels comfortable enough to do this with you, it speaks volumes about how much he loves you and trusts you. And so, it's the best feeling in the world. And you really don't expect this, because most of the time, he does not initiate anything. In fact, he feels a little bit nervous and withdrawn for a partner, but you understand where he's coming from, especially as someone who has never had to experience all of this. It must be truly strange to him, and that's why you want him to take things at his own pace. You don't want to rush him, and you don't want to make him uncomfortable by initiating too much all at once. So, when you were sitting on the couch and all of a sudden, he sat next to you, and then scooted closer, and leaned down to lay his head on your lap, you were shocked and frozen for a moment, before letting a wide smile take over your features. Oh, Scara, you want to do this? Well, why else would I be doing it? He said, but he was obviously blushing, and you laughed softly. You don't blame him. He gets a little bit snappy when he's embarrassed, but you understand that behind all of those words and his rough exterior, there is someone who also wants to be loved, and that's why you look at him, smiling, as you run your fingers through his hair gently, trying not to bother him, since you can get withdrawn really fast. So you just don't want to say the wrong thing. Well, you must have needed this. I don't know how your day has been, but I'm glad you came to me in the end, Scaramouche. I'd love to be with you all day. Then please, I need you, he said. And that was all you really needed to stay with him. If he needed you, then you were not going anywhere. You loved him far too much for that. And most importantly, right now, all you wanted was to see him being happy and to feel like he was comfortable. And right now, as you saw him resting against you like this, it was the best thing in the world. For him to feel comfortable enough to do this, it must mean that a lot has improved, and a lot has changed. You've panicked about a lot of things in the past, especially since Scaramouche himself was not really the best person when it came to these things. So right now, to see that he was finally able to do this, to rest his head on your lap, although simple for many others, and simply just seek to be loved and cherished in such a simple way, it was something that you appreciated, and you felt so happy to feel like you were deserving of his trust, and that he was finally willing to do this with you. Such a simple act, and yet it meant a lot to the both of you right now. And eventually, as you kept running your fingers through his hair, he fell asleep right then and there, like this was just his home, like this was where he belonged and felt safe. Arlecchino. Arlecchino did not like weakness or vulnerability. These things were a hindrance to her, and certainly not the way that a father wants to be. So she stayed really far away from those two. But being vulnerable and being weak with someone, especially if you were dating, perhaps it was necessary, or even expected. And maybe that's why it was a little bit difficult to navigate a relationship that ultimately required something that she did not allow herself in many years. Being vulnerable and receiving love. They were all things that Arlecchino wanted, and yet found very difficult. So, to feel like it was a fair relationship, and to not make this any harder on you, She wanted to be a little bit vulnerable. After all, it was the least that you deserved. And that was how she justified this for herself. And that was also how she got the courage from her own self. She really feared no one but her inner voice sometimes. And suddenly, Arlecchino herself was sitting beside you and laying her head on your lap. You were beyond stunned. Words failed you, really, and you didn't know what to say for a couple of moments, just staring blankly down at her. Arlie? Hmm? She murmured, a little bit sleepily and tiredly, and you just went quiet. No words that you were able to muster seemed fitting for the current situation. So she smiled, taking your hand gently and squeezing it in her own. Don't worry. Just stay there. That's all I ask, she said. And you were definitely going to stay. Especially if she was the one asking. She didn't ask for a lot. Not really. Which was something surprising for most people. A lot thought that someone like the knave would value a more transactional relationship. But in reality, love was not purely transactional at all. And she knew that and understood it very well, which is why she was a wonderful partner. All she wanted right now was for you to be able to be with her, and for her to relax with you. She could hardly feel this relaxed and safe with anyone. To be quite honest, she didn't feel unsafe a lot, not with the amount of power she withheld, but she didn't also feel safe in front of anyone to show her true self and her real emotions. But with you, she could cool down and be real, at least in a little sense. So she closed her eyes and cuddled close to you, holding your hand to her chest. And after a couple moments of you being stunned like this, you finally ran your hands through her hair, just humming softly and watching as the fourth harbinger, Arlecchino herself, was falling asleep in your lap. It was truly a wonder, and a moment that nobody else would be privy to, except you and you alone, which felt like an honor in and of itself. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you to my channel members, Nahida Reina, Pink, and Yummy. See you later!